and welcome to the Saltwater Report. I'm Bill Hitchcock. It is February 16th, Monday, and we have got a Power Pack program for you. In the Fish Report, king mackerel. Yes, king mackerel. And actually, it's traditional for this time of year. Bluefin tuna activity, ballistic. You won't believe the amount of bluefin tunas they've been catching and releasing. Black sea bass, we've got some oddities to get out to you, as well as viewer catches and lots of great video to show you. In the news department, we got lots of news affecting speckled trout, red snapper, fisheries meetings you can attend both in person and online, upgraded National Weather Service forecast that you can access, lots of stuff there. Plus, we got sea surface temperatures, wind and sea report, and coastal weather forecast. So let's jump on into the news. And again, this is real news heavy, and it's also traditional for this time of year to have bunches of news to get out to you. But starting March 3rd, the National Weather Service in Wilmington will expand marine forecasting and warning coverage out to 60 nautical miles offshore. The existing 4 nearshore marine zones only go out to 20 miles, remain unchanged, but 2 new offshore zones will be added to cover North Carolina and South Carolina waters from 20 to 60 miles out. Bottom line, more local detail, consistent warnings, and better coverage for offshore mariners. And I hate that term, mariner. Anyway, the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission is taking public comment on proposed temporary rule to close recreational harvest of spotted sea trout in inland and joint waters from April 6th through June 30th, 2026. The move would align Wildlife Resources Commission rules with an existing closure issued by the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries following a recent cold stun event. A virtual public hearing is scheduled for February 25th at noon, with an in-person hearing March 10th in Kinston, North Carolina. Public comments are open through March 13th. If approved, the sea trout season would reopen July 1st. The Wildlife Resources Commission does not have proclamation authority like the Division of Marine Fishery does, and this is why we got to go through this whole entire process to affect change or to react to the speckled trout cold stun event. Now, the 72nd annual Sport Fishing School, sponsored by North Carolina State Continuing and Lifelong Education, will be in Hatteras this coming May 31st. From May 31st through June 4th. This year's instructional team includes Captains Rom Whitaker and Brian Taylor. Let's go on and take a look at the video. Alrighty, go to the school if you can, put on by NC State University. NOAA Fisheries has received exempted fishing permit applications from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina to pilot state-led recreational red snapper management during the 2026 season. Changes prompted in part by a formal request from North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries Director Kathy Rawls. North Carolina's update proposal removes the earlier 100 participant limit, expanding access to match Georgia and South Carolina, and uses the shared vessel, VESL, or the Virtual Electronic Ship Log System, a state-run electronic reporting program that requires anglers to report red snapper trips and catch in near real time rather than relying on after-the-fact surveys. State officials say unreliable federal data, not lack of fish, has driven 2-day red snapper seasons, even as the stock rebuilds. The goal of the 2026 pilot is better data, fewer discards, and a foundation for long-term state-based red snapper management. And I'd like to thank, by the way, Jim Carroll. He brought this to my attention. So email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com, if there's a newsworthy event that you would like for me to get out to the folks. And as a reminder, the North Carolina Marine Fisheries Commission will meet February 18th and 19th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Kitty Hawk. Public comment sessions are scheduled for 6 p.m. February 18th and 9 a.m. February 19th. The meeting will be live streamed on YouTube, and I highly encourage people to go to those public comment periods. By the way, you're given 3 minutes. There is no repartee. There's no response to what you say. You say your piece and you go. And I think sometimes people think they're not being heard because of that. Trust me, you are being heard. Now, I'm going to jump in, switch things up. Instead of going immediately into the fishing report, we're going to go into the viewer catches, which is also a fishing report. And we get the best information from these folks. Captain Harvey Wall with Salty Dog Fishing. He says, "Hey, Bill, love the show. I watch it every Monday and Thursday. That's when we have new shows come out. I had 2 nearshore charters today on the 14th, February 14th. Took both to AR 445, just offshore of Ocean Isle, Holden Beach, bottom fishing for sea bass with chicken rigs and fresh shrimp. It was the calmest day I've seen all year. Close to 60 degrees, sun shining, no wind, flat calm seas, surface water temperature at 51 degrees. Caught a ton of sea bass, some porgies, and nice black drum." Again, the viewer submitted fishing report information is always the best. Detail, he gave the exact location, he gave the exact conditions, he gave the exact baits and lures and rigs that he was using, and showed us exactly what he caught. You can't ask for anything better than that. All right, Fishing Frenzy. Oh, look at this video. Porpoises, we're following the boat. Bunches of porpoises, they know where the food is. And the Fishing Frenzy goes on to say, "And one for dinner."
Oh, look at it. Right where you want them.
Here we go. Congratulations to Fishing Frenzy. By the way, I have never heard tell of a porpoise being caught hook and line while trolling like that. Ever. And I've seen them all over the place. So congratulations to those folks. Speechless Sport Fishing, they're at it again. They're out of Pirates Cove. So the ocean is full of all sizes right now. Littles, bigs, and giants. They're everywhere. Watch this video, by the way. Speechless Sport Fishing. They're bluefin tuna everywhere, and you're going to hear that more and more. Good Time Sport Fishing out of Hatteras is Chad, Andy, Chris, Cooper, and Silas had our best day of the year yesterday. A whopping 33 bluefin tuna released and a pretty 72-inch fish for the box. It's been chilly and windy some days, but the fishing has been absolutely world class. So today's it's slick calm, and they were still hungry. Come get in on the action. And by the way, that's just indicative of the coast of North Carolina during the wintertime. It's snow 1.5 feet. It can be 70 degrees and calm. So if you want to go fishing, just have your finger on speed dial and get ready to call when the conditions are conducive. All right, Frank and Franz out of Avon, North Carolina on Hatteras Island. They said, "What a gloomy day." This is yesterday, Sunday. So what a gloomy day. On and off rain, but at least not 30 degrees. Casey and Zach stumbled upon this guy on the Sound today. It's a stargazer. It was found in the Sound. It looks like a big stargazer. I don't know. Who knows what you'll find? By the way, this time of year is the time to explore, particularly if you're a soundbounder like me, because the waters are the lowest this time of year, and you can get out, and the waters are the clearest this time of year. So you can get out and you can explore, you can discover bottom, you can discover structure, you can discover a lot of things this time of year. So I highly encourage folks to head on out. Now, Red Drum Bait and Tackle in Buxton, North Carolina. They say, "My friends went in search of the famous bluefin tuna that are off of Hatteras Inlet. The recreational limit is 1 under 73. They said they had 4 on at different points of the day. They all said it was pretty amazing to see the size and sheer strength of the magnificent animal." And by the way, that's also not unusual. During my time with Tag a Giant, it was off of Core Banks, off that area, Portsmouth Island, and also Bogue Banks. In shallow water, even 10, 15 feet, 20 feet of water, being hooked on to 2, 3, and 4 bluefin tuna at the same time. I'm going to show this to you. Here's a picture out of the newspaper from about 25 years ago. I'm not looking at it right now. It's a picture of me, a picture of Captain Joe Shute, and a picture of Captain Ron Whitaker from Tag a Giant. I'm awarding these guys some trophy for something, but I just thought it was interesting. This newspaper article popped up from 25 years ago. All right, Done Deal Sport Fishing. It's a great day on the ocean. 16 for 16 on bluefin tuna today with a nice 70-inch fish brought to the dock. We also got in on the king mackerel bite and caught their limit of those. Note how calm it is. The wintertime king mackerel fishing, it's fantastic. And that's traditional. I remember, going back playing old man again 40 years ago. This time of year, the commercial fishermen went out of the Wilmington, Riceville Beach area, out of fishing the steeples, going offshore for king mackerel. So if you're able to head on out and do some king fishing, watch those sea surface temperatures, and go catch you some. All right, longer days at the dock. Look at this video. Tuna. And I love the big one that's brought in. So it's kind of like a Looney Tunes cartoon. On with the show. This is it. Bringing in the big bluefin. All right, spooled rotten out of Bogue Inlet. And I love this. We know that fishermen tend to exaggerate, make things sound better than they were. This time, they are masters of understatement. Again, this is spooled rotten out of the Bogue Inlet area. They say, gorgeous weather and seas. Bite was off today, and current was tough in the deeper water. Only about 16 trigger and sand tiles, chocolate chips, and amicos. Ran in and stopped for sea bass and pulled in about 24 in 50 minutes. Bogue Inlet is still doable. That's, it's miserable fishing. Look, we only caught 25 fish in 50 minutes, and then we did this. So congratulations to those guys. All right, dueling dogfish tournaments this coming weekend. Johnny Mercer's Pier and the Seaview Pier both have their own dog fishing tournaments. This coming Saturday, February 21st, Johnny Mercer tournament is from 1 to 8 p.m. The cost is $5 per rod. The Seaview tournament is $10 per rod and from noon to 8 o'clock. p.m. that day. I hope they catch some dogfish. Last year, I believe everybody got skunked. All right, the Oak Island Fishing Chargers. They say flat, calm seas and great fishing. Short offshore trips will produce lots of black sea bass for a few more weeks if you're ready to shake off the winter blues. And speaking of blues, I've gotten reports. I don't have pictures or anything to prove it, but I've gotten a report in Onslow Bay, which is, big, of course, from Cape Lookout down to Cape Fear, primarily out of the Bogue Inlet, Sneads Ferry area, that some very large bluefish are swimming around. And I would assume they would be near the structures where things like the black sea bass are. So if anybody has any more information, particularly pictures or video of big Hatteras-sized bluefish, let me know. Time to get on with our wind and sea report and our sea surface temperatures, brought to us by Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks that bring us this information both in real time and forecasted. What you're looking at right now are the winds as of Monday morning, February 16th, around 8 o'clock in the morning. I want to zoom on in here a little bit, just right off of Ocracoke, to show you that right now in Pamlico Sound, we've got like 27 knot winds, but just right off of Hatteras on the South Beach is 31, 32 off of Ocracoke. The inshore rocks and reefs, we're looking at 35 knot winds. I mean, we're talking gale force winds. It looks like a cutoff years around Cape Lookout Shoals, where in front of the Bogue Banks area, it's around 20 knots. So please be very much aware if you're planning on heading on out in the northern Outer Banks. It's the same thing. You can see the shift in the winds as you get on offshore. Later on today, what's it going to be like? Let's say around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, it looks like it's calming down a little bit, but it's still 25 knots in Pamlico Sound. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Can we go? Oh, well, look at there. Let's zoom on in here. Pamlico Sound, 3 knots off of the northern Outer Banks Nag's Head. 3 knots. Bogue Banks, 2 knots. Down here in the Cape Fear area, 5 knots. How about that? They're finally the windiest place. That's tomorrow morning. Let's go on into Wednesday morning. What happens? Well, the wind is shifting. It's in Pamlico Sound. It's 11, 12 knots. Northern Outer Banks around 13 knots. Cape Fear around 10, 11 knots. Wednesday afternoon, what happens? It looks like it's picking up a little bit more. 25 knots. Pamlico Sound. Let's zoom on in here a little bit. Ocracoke, off of Ocracoke, 27 knots here in front of the Bogue Banks Cape Lookout area, 25 knots. Oi, how about Thursday morning? What happens? Well, it looks like it's calmed down. It's down around 14, 15 knots in Pamlico Sound. Up here in the northern Outer Banks is around 9, 10 knots. How about that? Down here in the Cape Fear region, around 13, 14 knots. And we're going to go on and take a stab on the long-range forecast. That Friday, it's 7 in the morning. In Onslow Bay, 15 knots. Here at Cape Fear, 15 knots. Let's pull out a little bit more. Pamlico Sound, we're at 15 knots. So it's calmer up here in the northern Outer Banks, around 10 knots. So that's what the winds are going to be like forecasted for this coming week. Now, this is what I really wanted to get into, the sea surface temperatures. I got a little notice from somebody said, how come you're not showing the Albemarle Sound? Give us some love. Well, they've had a problem for the past week or so really getting clear readings, but I got some splotchy readings, sea surface temperatures. Now let's start off up here in the Albemarle Sound as the satellite loads up. Look here in the mouth of the Alligator River. It's around 41 degrees. You can see 41 degrees. All of this is, I'm not getting a reading. Working on up the Albemarle Sound here, 40 degrees. So it really hasn't changed too much in that neck of the woods. What's happening down here in the Pamlico Sound area? We're getting readings around 40 degrees. On up here in the Noosh River, we're getting readings of 43, 44 degrees. Even closer, what do we got? 42, 47 degrees. Now we're going to get into the offshore stuff, but look at this. This is warmed up. Here we got, it's almost 45 degrees coming into Beaufort Inlet. Also down here in Cape Fear, this is warmed up, probably the greatest warm up of the inside waters. And I'm really concentrating on this because of the speckled trouts that went through a cold time. This has gone up 3, 4 degrees. This is 46, 47 degrees in the Cape, 47 degrees here in the Cape Fear River. Now let's pull on out and take a look at some of these offshore areas. Again, we're not getting readings here, but we're going 10 nautical miles out at least, and we're still only in 42, 43 degree water thanks to the effects of the Labrador current. But look here on the South Beach of Hatteras. I just find this amazing. 42 degrees as you're coming out of Hatteras Inlet, and within about 7, 8 nautical miles, you're in 63, 64 degree water temperature. So you're going to catch, 20 degree water temperature. You're going to have such a diverse catch. Trying to find those bluefins or those king mackerels, which you're going to find out about a little later on. You can see that this warm water is probably 10 to 15 miles off of Portsmouth Island and Coral Banks down here in the Cape Lookout area. You had pretty much the same scenario where it's around 45, 46 degrees. Then heading on out towards the Hardy's Reef, it's around 70 degrees. The Big Rock is around 72, 73 degrees. And you can see all of these little finger eddies. We started seeing this last week of this warm water trying to come on inshore, just right off the beaches here. This is warmed up. This has been in the lower 40s. This is 47, 48 degrees off of Riches Inlet, Masonboro Inlet, Wrightsville Beach area. Here off the shoals, Frying Pan Shoals, you can see that we're around 48 degrees. But as we head on out to Frying Pan Towers, 67 degrees. That's still a little bit cooler than normal. And the Steeples, this is an area here around 70 degrees. This is the king mackerel area, which you're going to find out more about during the fish report. And right off the beaches here, you can see it's 47 degrees. This also has warmed up. We should be seeing a warming trend from here on out. We'll be getting out of these 40 degree water temperatures sometime soon. I'd like to thank Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks, for supplying us this information. Go to the website, satfish.com. Satfish.com. What I'm showing you here is just a fraction of everything they have to offer. Now, let's go on and take a look at our coastal weather forecast. Email me, BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com. Send me your pictures, your videos of your big fish, little fish. I don't know what it is, fish. It doesn't matter if you're a pier, marine, or bait and tackle shop, a charter boat captain, an amateur fisherman, a professional fisherman, young, old, in between, doesn't matter. I'd really like to see some how-tos. If somebody would take a video, say, how to throw a cast net, that'd be great. Or if you just held up your mirror lure and go, look, this mirror lure is what works best for me. That's all you got to do. So email me, billhitchcock@mail.com. All right, that's enough of me. Until next time, see ya.